I gotta say, before I start anything, I have some real beef about the breakdown of the audience thus far. There's like 4 people here who are comedians, and you jammed them in the corners. I got these useless faces to say. Thank you, everybody. I'm just gonna focus on my one and only fan. It's just not true, but I love you for saying it. All right, Jesus Christ. I don't know how to come back from that. I'm just going to start my set. It's fine. Great. Hi. You two have been scaring me all night. I was mostly watching you when everybody else was on, and you had amazing facial reactions. Anytime you didn't like a joke, you both go. I'm kind of scared of you though, so I'm going to focus over here. Hi everybody, my name is Olivia. Before the world ended, I also worked as a bartender. Great. I was not good at it, but that's okay because this is the Netherlands, so it doesn't matter. I have to say, as an American, I feel like the Dutch approach to service is genius. Okay. Are there any Dutch people here? I saw that coming from a while. I know you get a lot of shit for it, but I love it so much. Because in America, when you work in service, you live on tips, right? So your relationship with your customers is super unhealthy. So like, if I was serving you in America, this is how it would go, right? I'd be like, hey, how are you doing? You're doing really good? You're doing really good night. You guys having a good Okay, I have a fun fact for you. I'm going to be your server tonight. Woo! I know it's exciting. Okay, so tell me about you two. You 3. Now, is tonight just a regular Thursday? Or is it like a special occasion? It's just a regular one? Good for you guys. Good for you. Oh, I love you already. Okay, now tell me, what can I get for you? Do you want like French fries? Do you want a soda? Do you want me to dance for you? Do you want to hit me with your car? Because if the tips are right, that's also on the table. Whereas in the Netherlands, as a waiter, you can rock up to a table like, hey, what's up, motherfuckers? These are the menus. Now listen to me. We both know I don't need you. So why don't you tell me what you want? And I'll spend tonight deciding if I want to bring it to you. I love it. I think it's incredible. Thank you. There are other jobs where I feel like maybe being Dutch lends itself a tiny bit less well to success. Hear me out. Yeah. It's just that the way my Dutch therapist talks to me, I don't want to call it bullying. But it's pretty fucking close. At my first appointment, my intake appointment with her, I started crying, and she looks at me and she goes, you have a lot of feelings, don't you? That is a real thing my Dutch therapist said to me. And I was like, I get it, Annemieke, okay? You miss your usual Dutch appointment, right? Where Jordan comes in, and he's like, Annemieke, I've had a terrible week. And she's like, what happened, Jordan? And he's like, I almost had a feeling. She's like, please, tell me, what was it? What happened? And he's like, well, I was cycling, and a woman cut me off, and I yelled at her in Dutch, and then she yelled back at me in English. And I realized she was American, and so she couldn't understand me. And it's just like, how will she know that I think she's a cancer whore? I'm from Los Angeles, which is a terrible place, So I'm used to like not being like the cutest person in the room, and then I moved here, which was emotionally devastating. I can't tell you how rough it is to be an American 6, an LA 2, and a Dutch 0. Not big into it. I also, I feel like a lot of Dutch people, I don't know if you've heard this like super niche stereotype that Dutch people are like a little bit blunt sometimes. But I feel like there's this vibe where people are like, oh, well, at least we're not like fake Americans, you know, like Americans are so fake with their niceness. They don't really mean it. Like, I don't give a shit if it's fake. I just want to buy milk without feeling like the cashier actively hates me. Is that too much to ask for? I also feel like there's this weird thing where people are like huge assholes to your face, and then they're like, I'm just being honest. You can't just slap an adjective on a behavior. And then explain it away. That's not how the world works. In what other scenario would that be acceptable? You're like, oh, I'm just free-spirited. Okay. You took a shit in my pool, Gary. Get out of my house. Right, so that's not the punchline. We know that going forward. For helping me workshop that. I keep wanting to lean on this. I have good news, everyone, which is that I have learned the cure for American exceptionalism since I moved here. I know, thank you so much. It's called living with a French woman. And it's horrifying. I had a French roommate, and she was so beautiful in like an effortless way, you know, and I was always like, what's your secret? Because I have a 10-step skincare routine to get this garbage goblin American face. What do you do? And she's always like, oh, I just splash a little bit of dirty dishwater on my face. And then it takes care of itself. She's so beautiful. And she's like, she looks cute in oversized sweaters, which I think is fucked up. Do you know what I look like in an oversized sweater? It's like a husky 4-year-old when digging in their weird dead uncle's closet. It's not great. She's super smart. She speaks 3 languages. And she's really nice. Like, she like asks me how my day is going, and she really means it. And she's always offering to hang out with me. Which is crazy, because this is kind of fun for like 10 minutes at a time, but 24/7 it's a nightmare, so she's a great person. And do you know what the fucked up part of it is? Do you know what her name is? Her name is Olivia. That's my name. And I can't even be like, oh, maybe I'll like aim to be like her one day because she's younger than me. I'm living with a younger, smarter, hotter version of myself. It's like we're constantly in a Christmas carol. And I'm the ghost of Christmas yet to come. Here to show her what can happen if she makes all the wrong choices. I have accomplished the real American dream since I moved here, which is tricking a Canadian into loving me. I'm pretty excited about that. Thank you, everybody. My parents are super excited about it. My mom is like, she's super independent. She wouldn't let my dad propose to her. She barely agreed to get married. She doesn't wear a wedding ring. She never changed her name. I have a hyphenated last name because of her. And she was always like, you're going to be your own woman. You're never going to give yourself over to a man. Or the fucking institution of marriage, or sign yourself over to children. You're gonna be independent forever. Your own Olivia. And then I started dating a Canadian, and she was like, go, bitch, go, get that ring, do it. Poke a hole in the condom, I don't care, do it. Wow, that is not a feminist thing for you to say. She's like, Trump got elected once, it could happen again. It's every woman for herself, too. I love my boyfriend so much. He's so wonderful I'm very into him in a deeply uncool way. We've been together almost 3 years. We lived together for a long time. And I only had one brief blip in like how into him I was, which is when a friend out of the blue was like, hey, has Andrew ever done close-up magic? I was like, why would you ask me that, Jake? And he was like, I don't know, I just get like a magician vibe from him. So we were almost over then and there, but we talked through it in couples counseling. We're all fine now, it's okay. He's 10 years older than me, which means I get to play a fun game called going out in public, making out with him, and then calling him Dad. He hates it, but that's okay. And it's really weird because he's the first like genuinely good person I've ever dated. I've only dated idiots up till now. And I think that it can get kind of confusing when you've only dated morons and assholes and then you start dating a really wonderful person. Like the first night that I spent at his house, we were up until like 3 o'clock in the morning talking. And then he was like, hey, listen, no pressure at all. You're welcome to spend the night if you want to. And I was like, oh, I know this game. No pressure at all. Just because it's late. And then I sauntered into his bedroom and then he handed me a set of pajamas. I was like, what are you, running a hotel? And then I realized, oh, he wants me to feel comfortable. Like, what kind of game is that? Got it. I think I've learned the secret of like dating as a sad girl. I used to assume that you needed to date other sad boys because I was like, they get me. But all that ends up happening is that you just listen to sad Drake together, get high, and treat each other terribly. So the secret is date someone 10 years older than you who used to be sad, who isn't anymore. And that way you're not like in chaos at the same time, you know? And I look back on what I used to do for so long. I wasted so much time dating men who were like Tame Impala and sex without a condom are the only things that can heal me. I'm not gonna go there anymore. One like minor downside is I do feel like I'm losing my identity a little bit in this relationship, you know. Before this, I worked as a bartender. I owned 4 separate leather jackets. I once punched a kid in the face in 3rd grade because he stole part of my lunch. I identify as a badass is what I'm trying to say, Claire. But at home, my boyfriend calls me Muffin. And he refers to our bed as the muffin tray. Because that's where little muffins sleep, you know? It's super jarring to get home from a night out, like at work, you know, I'm like, who are you? What are you doing? Don't talk to me like that. Don't hit on me, ambient asshole. Get the fuck out of here. And I come home, I slam the door, I take off both my leather jackets. And he's like, is that a little muffin? And I'm like, it's me, a muffin, I'm home. Anytime I'm out of bed during the night, he's like, what's that muffin doing out of her tray? And I'm like, I'm a muffin, I have to go to my tray. So that's upsetting. And it really got out of hand in quarantine because like at least before that I left, right? So I was like 50% badass, 50% muffin. But now I never go anywhere, so I'm what you might call a full-time muffin. I'm not even called my name anymore. The other day, someone like called me Olivia, and it was like I was a lifelong undercover agent, having war flashbacks. I was like, oh, Olivia. It's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Then what happened is my boyfriend did what I should have assumed Canadians will do, which is go back to Canada. Yeah, we've been doing long distance for 7 months now, and I'm doing fucking terrible. I'm doing so bad, and I've never been super stable. I've always been like a little bit, you know, on the edge. But now I'm doing bad in a way where like it's so obvious. Like all my friends are eyeing each other. They're like, do we need to do something about her? Should we intervene? You saw that girl who got here late? She didn't even need to be here. She just came here because she was like, she can't be alone. I saw a girl I took one improv class with like a year ago, and we talked for 5 minutes on the street, and then she sent me a text afterwards, and she was like, hey, if you ever need to talk, I'm here. And I was like, oh no, it's so obvious. Everybody knows. I'm at the Aldi for the 3rd time that week buying a single chicken breast. And the cashier's like, hey, that'll be 2 euros. If you ever need to talk, you know what I mean? Great. And also, I'm trying to expand my comedic. I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone a little bit, you know, because I'm going through this thing. So I'm going to do an impression. I call this impression recently heartbroken woman at a Zumba class. Can you count me in, Claire? Just say 3, 2, 1. Ready?
Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
There we go.
That's my impression. Thank you all so much. How much time do I have left?
0.
I didn't see myself get lighted.
He's very shy lighter.
Hey. You should have yelled at me to get the fuck off the stage. I would have ended right now.
You missed that.
That's true. All right. Well, yeah, fuck me, I guess. Bye, everybody.